And here we go. Okay. Conversation Alden episode, blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
Whatever.
Whatever. We're going to start with your foray into a life of crime.
Yes, life of crime. There was a brief period when I had gotten out of high school and wasn't sure what to do next. My good buddy Ed Falk, we had done a lot of things together, and he had fallen in with some criminals. He was also going through a divorce and had rented a nice cottage on a lake where I stayed with him, and a couple of the criminals did also, plotting their evil deeds. One of the guys was this cadaverous guy who they called not bishop, deacon, and cat.
I'm so happy you guys are bonding.
Yes.
Cool.
Oh, so Deacon was out of jail. He served some time for bank robbery. Now that's serious crime. That's not just fooling around.
That's not petty. Yeah.
That he had he had made good use of his time in prison and worked in the kitchen and became something of a chef.
Oh.
So when we were hungry, we'd go out and gig a few frogs, and he'd make some gourmet fried frogs legs for us.
Nice.
He was pretty harmless. I don't think that the actual crime that we did got much more serious than maybe making off with an auto generator for the copper in it, you know.
Yeah.
So that we could all go drinking again.
Gotta pay the bar tab.
Yeah. So the other guy there was Jimmy, who even the crooks didn't respect him very much. He was the type that tended to seduce underage girls and.
Oh yeah.
Just tacky.
Yeah.
Bad taste. One day, a teenage girl showed up at our place. Apparently, we've been around long enough to have something of a reputation, and somehow she got the impression that she could just drop in and camp out, which was absolutely right. We were glad to have her. She could do some of the cleaning. And Jimmy was hoping for a conquest, yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it was a Sunday afternoon, and my friend Ed and I had gone into a tavern in town, which was, I think that the formal name was the Casino Gardens. Everyone knew it as the Bucket of Blood. It was this old-fashioned speakeasy that was tucked away in an industrial section. There were no signs. You wouldn't know that anything was there unless you know which door to enter.
Okay.
So Ed and I went down to the casino gardens and let's see, they had a big dance floor and then they had a beer garden in the back. This is very Deutsch. There's big Franz Hals paintings on the wall and such.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, so we're sitting there discussing the problem of Jimmy and how he's going to get us all into trouble. So someone worked up the nerve to drop a dime on him to just
get him out of the way.
Yeah. Oh, one of the problems is that the young lady who had chosen to come camp out with us was the daughter of the chief of police in the next town. So,
that is a spectacular issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So she that became an issue that had to be dealt with. So,
did her father know she was there?
I'm not sure, but once we ratted them out, he knew. And Ed and I enjoyed our beer at the tavern and everything. And then by the time we got back, gee, there weren't as many people there as there used to be.
Oh,
Jimmy
darn.
was gone. That young lady was gone. I think that the deacon, sensing that police were on the way, had excused himself.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wrapped it up for my life of crime.
Yeah, that was enough.
Yeah, just hanging out with a gang with big potential to get in major trouble.
Yeah.
And this was the first time I told you that my dad would let me know when I was getting in trouble or was under surveillance. He let me know that we were being watched.
Yeah. Okay.
I said, okay, and that was one of the factors that drove our next moves to rat out Jimmy and get him taken out of the equation.
Right. Interesting. So how long did you live with those guys?
Oh, that was a summer thing.
Yeah, not very long.
No, I went back to school in the fall. I never put that on what I did on my summer vacation essay.
Probably good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Now, you said there was a story about living across the street from a bandito.
Oh, yeah. Someplace I got the picture. I'll show it to you someday. I just can't put my finger on it right this instant.
Yeah.
But I was living in Romeroville, which is kind of a long dirt road with a bunch of adobe houses on it outside of town. And see, there were two houses. I was renting one. A Chicano guy was renting the other one, and we got to be friends. And would have a beer on the stoop in the evening. That kind of thing. And he told me that the bandito lived across the street, and if he ever came over and tried to steal anything, that it was probably okay to shoot him.
somebody a favor.
Yeah, I didn't know whether he was serious, and I didn't have a gun anyway at that time. So
yeah. Did you ever meet the guy?
I just saw him in passing, but the big story that I heard was that he was driving into town, and this was the 1970s when all the wannabe hippies were hitchhiking through with a copy of Carlos Castaneda in their back pocket, and expecting to enter the land of enchantment and for wonderful things to happen.
Right.
So this young guy was on the road, and he had very few possessions. I'm sure that he saw himself as pursuing a life of simplicity. So the bandito comes down the road in the truck, and he picks the guy up, and he's going to take him into town. And he checks out the guy and says, "Wait a minute, let me stop by my cousin's place first. We have some business to do." So he went down some dirt roads to get out of the way, and then he pulls out his pistol and disencumbers the guy of the really nice cowboy boots that he had and the belt. And any loose change or wallet that he had on him, basically cleaned him out.
Yeah.
And left him walking back to town in his underwear.
Oh, poor guy.
Well, we hadn't figured, or he hadn't figured, that this guy was an out of towner and didn't know how things worked around there. Around there, you don't rat out people.
Yeah.
It's not a good practice, but he was from some place that was where law and order prevailed. So he went to the police and told them, and oh my God, they were, well, yes, we'll take care of it right away. So they picked up the guy and threw him in the clink and set a trial. And the trial came, and this lone Anglo hitchhiker didn't have a lot of allies. The bandito did. He had a lot of relatives around there, so he packed the court with his relatives, and the jury was composed mostly of people who were related to him also, because it's a small area. I mean, you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
So his defense was that he was giving this young man a ride into town, and you know how these long-haired Anglos were. He was a homosexual, and he made advances to our Chicano friend,
right,
which offended his honors. So he had to do something,
right?
And that was where taking all of his stuff and kicking him out of the truck went. And I hear at that point that's where the juror went, oh,
Oh, yeah. Well, no wonder.
They were of the same opinion that all these long-haired hippie freaks were probably all faggots.
So I'm assuming that the outcome of the trial was in favor of not the hippie guy.
Hung jury, yeah. But I don't think I think he stopped doing it after that point. I didn't hear any more problems about the cross-cultural misunderstandings.
So what happened to the hippie guy? Did he just leave town?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well,
Got
Now
it.
now it's time to go.
Yeah, got his stuff back. Spent some money on the lawyers. Began to achieve some enlightenment, which was what he went out for. So
yeah, served its purpose, right?
Maybe not quite what he planned for, but
yeah, yeah.
He definitely knew more by the time he got out of town.
Yeah, than he did when he went in.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
No, that was a place that I lived with my Cherokee half-breed ex-prostitute girlfriend.
The one that tried. Is she the one that tried to kill you or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, tell that story.
Yeah.
He was really mad.
Yeah. Let's see. I had been working at an experimental unit at the state mental hospital outside of town, and one of my coworkers was a social worker. And time passed, and I was no longer working there, but I was acquainted with her, and she was involved with that project to rehabilitate prostitutes. Because I mean, the context is that the school had been taken over by a kind of a Cuban Marxist-Leninist faction, and their philosophy was that prostitution was a problem of capitalism, with people being turned into commodities, right. And that as social workers, it was their responsibility to get them back into society in a less vulnerable position.
Yeah.
So the social worker assigned Linda to me for homework. She knew that I didn't have a girlfriend, and I had a house, so she figured it would work itself out.
Yeah.
She did like to drink, and it's true what they say about drunken Indians, I'm afraid. And it finally came to a head one Sunday night when I was getting my books and notes ready for the Monday classes, and she got annoyed by the noise that I was making doing that, so she told me to shut up, and I returned the compliment, said "fuck you" or something like that. And that's when she came flying across the room at me like a banshee. But fortunately, before I went away to Highlands University, I'd gone to Mattituck Community College for my associate's degree back in Connecticut, and they have optional sports. And since we're innocent social workers going out there dealing with the public in the real world, one of the sports was karate.
Yeah.
Tang Soo Do, and I mean, I'm not a big guy, so I figured that I should probably take that. Yeah, so I trained in Tang Soo Do, where you break the boards and all that crap.
Okay.
And make these movements so that your gi snaps, makes noise,
Very, very impressively.
Yeah, kung fu stuff.
Yeah.
So when she came flying at me, my response was automatic to block it and do a counter punch. And that landed her on the floor. with a surprised look on her face, and for some reason she got upset and walked out on me. I can't understand why.
Can't imagine why. Yeah.
But she spent her free time bad mouthing me to everyone that she knew, so that my chance of ever getting employment around there was diminished.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care. I had something lined up anyway. But she did the worst that she knew how to do.
Yeah.
And later on, I heard that she had the wisdom to join the army. You know, one of the first things that she told me was that was that she needed discipline. You know, that she kind of implied that I should be controlling her. You know, keeping a lid on her. And I don't know how to do that. That isn't my role.
You're not a good candidate for that.
No, I don't come from that kind of world.
Yeah.
But she joined the army, where she got the discipline that she wanted and needed, and it ended up marrying another GI with I hope a compatible personality, and they wandered off stage and were not heard from again.
Okay.
So that was my Romeroville story.
Those are some pretty good stories. It sounds like a not a boring place.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Well, we are actually. This is a good segue. We are actually almost to a half an hour, so we'll wrap it up for today. But okay. Yeah, I like that you're taking notes during the week, and that you have, because it's been cool to kind of see the little ideas that you've had.
Yes.
About what to talk about. That's really good.
Yeah, I'll be out of interesting stuff pretty soon.
Oh, I doubt that. I doubt that. If you are by some chance, then we will find other interesting things to talk about.
Okay.
For sure. All right. I'm going to sign off now, and I'm going to go to the studio and then go visit my kids. So, yes. So we will talk. We'll talk before next week, I'm sure.
Are we on for next week? You mentioned plans.
Oh, no. You know what? I'm going to be gone. That's right. Because I am going to take my motorcycle test. I'm excited. I got my jacket, my helmet, my gloves. I got to find some boots. I got to do the testing over the week. And then somebody's going to have to show me how to work a motorcycle.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll see how it goes. I've been on lots of motorcycles, just never driving them myself.
Are you renting one or buying one, or?
The Team Oregon has motorcycles that you can use to get the certification, and once you get the certification through them, you don't have to take the driving test at the DMV. You just have to take the written test to get your license. So I'm going to go up, and it's 7:30 to noon, Saturday and Sunday next weekend.
Okay. So that's learning how to keep the thing upright.
Yes. How to start it, how to stop it, how to shift, all that stuff. So kind of excited.
Have you seen what kind of motorcycle you'll be learning on?
It's gonna be like a kind of a dirt bike looking thing, because they have it's not a big one. The ones that they have you test on and use are like 250 cc's. So they're small bikes. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So I will let you know how that goes, but we will be back on for the weekend after that.
Yeah, that makes sense. A 250cc bike has more than enough power to get you in trouble. So it's
anything more powerful than that would be taking away from my ability to learn how to just work all the different parts. So,
right. Yeah.
Excited.
250 is a good size to learn on, and you can keep up with traffic if you have to with one like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. We will sign off for now, and I'll even though we're not going to be doing that, I'm sure I'll talk to you during the week.
Okay. Very good.
Okay. Bye.
Yep.